I had just turned 19 when I joined the new tennis academy. It was the kind of place where players wore crisp white uniforms, and the courts were so clean you'd think someone polished them with a toothbrush. I'd transferred from a smaller community center where I'd played casually, but my love for tennis was growing stronger, and I knew I needed proper coaching if I ever wanted to go further. My parents were supportive, especially my dad, who'd been a high school tennis champ back in his day. He said, "Give it all you've got, Lauren. Don't hold back." I took that to heart. So I packed up my gear, mentally prepared myself, and walked into my first day of training with more nerves than confidence. The coach assigned to me was Coach Ryan Matthews. Mid-30s, serious expression, and always wore a navy blue cap turned backwards. He had the reputation of being tough but fair. People respected him, and he had a track record of pushing players into scholarships and pro leagues. When he called out my name during the lineup, I straightened up immediately. "Lauren Carter?" he asked. I nodded. "Court 3. Let's see what you've got." The first few weeks were intense. Drills, footwork, strategy sessions. He noticed every detail: how I gripped my racket, the way I served, how I hesitated with my backhand. At times, his critiques felt overwhelming, but I also knew I was improving. He'd often pull me aside after practice to go over notes. "You've got natural instincts, Lauren. Don't second-guess yourself," he told me one day. That stuck with me. Our group was tight-knit. There was Grace, who had the most powerful serve I'd ever seen, and Jordan, who played with a calm precision that made everyone nervous. We laughed, practiced hard, and spent a lot of time in the locker room decompressing after sessions. One Thursday afternoon, after a particularly brutal match simulation, I lingered longer than usual. Everyone else had already gone, and I stayed back to cool off and re-wrap a minor sprain on my ankle. The locker room was quiet. I was sitting on the bench, towel around my shoulders, my phone playing music softly. That's when the door creaked open. I looked up and saw Coach Ryan step in. He paused when he saw me and raised his hand. "Didn't know anyone was still in here," he said. "I left my clipboard." I pointed to the counter. "It's right there, Coach." He walked over, grabbed it, and turned back to me. "You okay?" he asked. "You look like you tweaked something earlier." "Just my ankle," I replied. "It's nothing serious." He nodded and leaned against the doorframe. "You've been pushing hard lately." "That's good, but make sure you listen to your body too." I smiled. "Yeah, I know. I just really want this." "I can tell," he said. Then there was a beat of silence. Not uncomfortable, just quiet. "I used to play like that," he added. "Always pushing. Until I hit a wall. A real injury set me back for years." I was surprised he was opening up like this. He never talked about himself. Was it serious? ACL tear. Right knee. Took me out of the game. That's when I started coaching. "Do you miss playing?" "Every day," he said, his eyes distant for a moment. "But seeing players like you bring that same passion, I think that's what keeps me going." I nodded, feeling a little humbled by his honesty. "Thanks, Coach. That means a lot." "No problem," he said, giving me a smile I rarely saw. "You're doing great, Lauren. Keep it up." Then he turned and left the locker room. I sat there still thinking about what he said. It wasn't just the words, it was the way he said them. For the first time, Coach Ryan didn't feel like just a coach. He felt human, like someone who had lived through the dream I was chasing. From that day on, our sessions changed. They weren't just about tennis anymore. He started talking to me more during warm-ups, asking about school, how I was feeling, if I was eating well. He suggested workouts tailored to my body type, and even recommended yoga for recovery. Other players noticed too. Grace joked, "Coach Ryan's got a soft spot for you." I brushed it off, but something had shifted. Weeks turned into months. My game was improving rapidly. I was even invited to a regional tournament, something I hadn't expected so soon. Coach Ryan personally drove me and 2 other players to the venue. It was a long drive, filled with music, bad road snacks, and nervous energy. During the tournament, I made it to the semi-finals, narrowly losing to a more experienced player. Still, Coach Ryan clapped for me the entire match. "That was a damn good fight," he said afterward. "You should be proud." The ride back was quiet. I stared out the window, processing the loss. He must have noticed because he said, "Losses are part of the climb, Lauren. They teach you more than wins ever will." I smiled. "You always have a coach like quote ready." He laughed. Occupational hazard. Back at the academy, things felt different again. The bond between us grew more relaxed, more familiar. One afternoon, I stayed back again after training. This time, I was icing my shoulder, sitting alone in the locker room. He came in to check on equipment like before. "You're becoming a regular here," he teased. "Occupational hazard." I replied with a grin. He chuckled and sat on the bench across from me. "You're one of the most dedicated players I've worked with in years, you know." "Really?"
Yeah.
"And not just in skill. You've got heart. That's rare." I looked at him, wondering how a comment like that could mean so much. "Thanks, coach." There was a long pause, both of us staring at the floor. "You ever think about playing professionally?" he asked. "All the time," I admitted. "But it scares me."
Good.
"If it doesn't scare you, it's not worth doing." The air in the room felt still, like it was holding its breath. But just as quickly, he stood up and stretched. "Anyway, get that shoulder looked at tomorrow. I want you at 100%. "Yes, sir," I said playfully. As he left, he gave me a small wave. "Rest up, champ." By the end of the season, I had placed in 2 major tournaments and colleges were reaching out. My parents were thrilled, but I couldn't stop thinking about the journey that brought me here and the quiet encouragement from Coach Ryan that had fueled so much of my progress. On the final day of the training term, there was a small farewell gathering. Coach Ryan gave a speech, congratulating us and sharing stories from the season. When it was over, I found a moment alone with him near the court. "I don't think I'd be here without you," I told him. He smiled. "You did the work. I just nudged you along." "You did more than that." He nodded, his expression soft. "You're going to do great things, Lauren. Don't ever doubt that." I felt tears prick my eyes but held them back. "I'll make you proud." "You already have." That night, as I packed my gear and left the locker room one last time, I looked back and smiled. It wasn't just a place to change, it was where I grew, learned, and found a mentor who believed in me when I doubted myself. The tennis court taught me the game, but that locker room reminded me of the power of quiet support, honesty, and trust. And I'd carry that with me, no matter where I played next.